Welcome to the Travelverse. This is a great hackathon to introduce you to travel data, starting with airline tickets. My name is Chuck Thaxton, the Managing Director of Data Science and Research here at ARC, and I'm going to go through a little bit of detail around the data that we have for you for this hackathon and a little bit of the context of what data actually means. So when you get to the Travelverse through Hacker Earth, one of the things that you can see is our data glossary in the menu over on the left-hand side. By clicking on that data glossary, you will see all the fields and all the definitions of the data that is included in this hackathon. But I also wanted to give you a little bit of context around what this data means and how you can relate to this data. So, looking at your travel journey, when you take a trip, and most of us have done this, you start to get inspired. You think about where you would like to go, and then you shop around. What are the options? Where could we go? Then once you get serious, you start looking at offers. What is available? How much will it cost? When could we travel? And then you go to purchase. That's when you purchase your airline tickets and the other parts of your journey. Now, after you purchase it, you start thinking about the trip. So there's a pre-trip phase where you think about ground transportation, maybe some tours you want to take at your destination, and then you actually take the trip. And once you come back from that trip, the outcome is some great travel memories. What we're going to talk about here is purchase, specifically a purchase of an airline ticket. That is the data that's included in this hackathon. And we're looking for you to apply your creativity, to look for predictive trends, to really dive into the data and figure out exactly what you can do with all this airline data. Now, the airline data is all connected through a transaction key. So every transaction or ticket purchase is connected through this transaction key. And that is a fundamental part of the data that's in every record you will see in the sample. Now, within that transaction, you will see the ticketing airline, which is represented by both a code and an airline name, whichever is easier for you to use. The airline or the agency that sold the ticket, if it was sold through a travel agency, and that's represented by a number. The issue date and the country where that ticket was issued. This is information about each transaction or each ticket that gets issued. Now there's more detail underneath that. Within each airline ticket, there is a segment number, which represents a sequence number of the flights included in that ticket. Within each coupon or segment, there is a marketing airline, again, by code and name, as well as a flight number, departure date, the origin of the flight, and the destination where that flight went to, as well as a cabin class to show you if it's premium or economy. So in summary, this is what your data looks like. These are the transactions and airline tickets that you will be using in this hackathon to figure out what can we tell from this data. Are there some predictive models that we can come up with? And applying your creativity again to really find out what's in this data. A couple of other quick notes. I mentioned cabin class. That can be used to give you an assessment of what is premium travel, what is economy travel, how does it vary across markets or across time. Those are some things you can determine from cabin class. There's also a trip type that tells you whether it's a round trip, a one-way, or a complex trip. That gives you some indication of if people are traveling to a destination and then returning home. You can easily find that information by looking at round trip travel only. And finally, there is a transaction type. Most of the transactions will be issued. These are tickets that are issued for travel. We also include refund and exchange transactions so you can get a sense of the volatility in a particular market. So you can see how things have changed over time and what's going on with what's at each destination. That's what we're seeing in the Travelverse, and we look forward to seeing your great ideas coming through in the travel data.